Hello everyone, this is Jose from K-9, and today's video is going to be about luring and how to use luring to teach several tricks to your dog. We're not going to get into the actual tricks, but if you pay attention and learn the process of luring, you can get creative and teach your dog any tricks that you want. We're going to be using Tess, my Belgian Malinois here. We're going to be using a clicker, and we're going to be using some really high value treats for your dog. This is the exercise where you want to use the highest value treats you can possibly use for your dog. Couple prerequisites that you need from your dog. They got to be very motivated for food, they have to be hungry, and they have to really enjoy doing these activities. Okay? So the first step we're going to learn is how to hold the treat properly in your hand. Now, this is a really important one because luring is all about controlling where your dog goes through the use of your hand movement. And if you have the treat in the wrong place in your hand, you could inadvertently guide the dog in the wrong direction. So we're going to show you about how to properly hold the treat in your hand. Some of that was touched up on in the touchpad video with Theo, where she quickly demonstrated how to do it. But I'm going to show you just again for repetition how to hold the treat in your hand. So when you're holding the treat in your hand, you want to make sure you put it in between your thumb and your index finger, right in there. And you want to close your hand like this, so when the dog tries to nip at the treat, they're really not getting anything. They're not biting you, they're not biting the treat, but it gives them access to it so they can continue to work at it, okay? This will prevent you from getting nipped, and it'll prevent you from accidentally slipping the food to the dog like this. This is the wrong way to hold a treat, because you'll get your hands nipped, and the dog can steal the food from you before they finish the exercise. So make sure you're practicing giving treats like this. I mentioned that we're going to be using a clicker here, but you don't have to use a clicker. You can also use the word yes. I just prefer to use a clicker because I like the sound that it makes, and I think the dogs like it too, but the word yes works just as well. Tess has been trained on both the clicker and the yes verbal marker, so either one works. Sometimes this can be a little bit cumbersome to have in your hand, but I like to use these as I think they're pretty valuable. So today we're going to be using this, but if you've taught your dog the word yes, that works just as well, okay? Okay, so holding the treat properly in your hand as I just demonstrated, we're going to now help the dog understand what she's supposed to do and how she's supposed to take it. So the first thing I want you to do is simply, if you're clicking or saying yes, you're going to put your hand down. As soon as the dog pushes into your hand forcefully to take the treat, you're going to say yes, or you're going to click and release the food, okay? So demonstration here, I'll turn sideways so you can watch Tess do it. She's pushing into my hand, I click, and I give her the treat. What that's doing is teaching her, I want you to push towards my hand assertively. That's what I want at this point of the training, okay? So I'll demonstrate again. Treat in the hand, properly. Tess is pushing really hard into my hand. Click, and open your hand to give the treat. Once your dog is doing that really well, the next step is to get them moving. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take the treat, put it in our hand the same way we've been doing, but we're going to get the dog moving, walking backwards and pushing into your hand, just like that. I'm going to turn backwards so you can see what she's doing. And what's happening is, as assertively as she's trying to take that food from my hand, I'm not getting bit because I'm handling the food properly. But I'm able to move her body position to where I want her to be. Now that she's learned how to, one, take the treat from my hand, two, follow my hand to where I want her to be, now I can start moving her body around in different positions. So if I have the treat in my hand and she's learned movement, now, really simple exercise I'm going to teach my dog. Since she's following my hand, I'm going to teach her the beginning steps of a spin move. So here's Tess, trying to take the food from my hand. I simply spin my hand around and give it to her as soon as she spins. Food in hand, she's trying to take it but she can't get it because I'm handling the food properly. Slowly around and click. Hand in the food, spin around, click. And now you just want to do several repetitions in both directions until your dog can follow your hand quickly and spin around with you. Tess has already learned this, but she started where every other dog starts. She didn't know it at all. Just takes time and repetition. Go slow with your dog at first. They're not going to spin as fast as Tess is spinning. She's been doing this for about 3 or 4 years. But your dog will slowly follow your hand into a spin move, and over time they're going to start learning to spin faster and faster and faster. Once your dog is doing it cleanly and you like the picture, then you're going to add a command to it. And I like the command spin, but you can add whatever name you want to. Now that Tess has demonstrated she knows how to follow my hand, now I'm simply going to say spin and click. Remember, this takes several repetitions. First, get the hand movement down so your dog knows how to follow your hand around. Then, you'll add a command to it. Spin. Good job. Spin. Good job. Once you have luring down, you can get creative and teach anything you want. You can teach them to go between your legs. You can teach them to go in a circle in both directions, spin in both directions. You can teach them to go between your legs and into a heel position to lift their head up. You can get creative and teach as many things as you want to teach. But the beauty of luring is that the possibilities are endless. You can teach whatever exercise or trick you want to teach your dog. So she's my competition dog, so I didn't teach a lot of tricks, but I did teach her some tricks. This is one that I taught that I kind of regret because she really enjoys putting her paws on me just like this, okay? Thinking that I'm going to give her a treat. But since this is becoming kind of annoying, I'm not going to give her a treat anymore. So one of the exercises that I trained was to go through my legs. So the first thing that I do is, using all the tools that I currently have, is I get the dog front and center using motion, and then I simply put the treat between my legs as I open it. Through. Good job. Through. Good job. Through. Good job. Now you can add those two together. Spin. Through. Good job. So we'll move ahead to this next trick because Tess is obviously ahead of the game here. She already knows what's happening. So if I want to teach the dog to go between my legs and look at me, really simple. As soon as you have the through command where the dog is going through your legs, all you have to do is don't reward, just show them that the treat is back in front of your legs. So what I'll do is I'll say through and then bring it back up here. Whoops. Through. Good job. Just like that. When we're teaching tricks, as you saw Tess just messed up, we don't use any kind of corrections or anything. You just start over again. There's no reason to correct the dog. This is supposed to be a fun exercise for you and your dog. So you just keep doing repetitions until you get it right. The better you are at luring, the easier it'll be for the dog. So we'll go through that exercise again. See if we can make it a little bit better. Through. Good job. Don't be afraid to give more than one treat. If your dog is trying really hard to get the exercise right and then bam, they get it right, don't be afraid to give more than one treat. You don't just have to give one and be done. Give your dog 2, 3, 4, 5 treats for a job well done. I just gave her 2 treats. That's better than the 1 treat that I gave her before. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to give her 4 treats in a row for doing it right. Through. Oh, messed up. Through. Good job. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 actually. Good job. Jackpot your dog helps keep the energy really high, okay? So now I'm going to run her through several commands that I taught using the luring process so you can see how diverse we can get with this. And again, like I mentioned earlier, you can go way crazy with this. You can teach way more things than I'm teaching here. I just limited her because she is my sport dog and I don't want her doing too many tricks out on the open field. Spin, through. Good job. Spin, heel. Good job. Spin, heel. Good. Here. Spin. Good. Stand. Back, 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 back. Good job. Stand. Oh. Here. Stand. Back. Down. Sit. Here. Stand. Back, back, back. Here. Good job. Good job. So this is a quick video of how to do luring with your dog to start your trick training process. To teach your dog to do any tricks that you want. Get creative with it. A good thing to get into, or a good little idea for you guys, since we're all stuck at home right now, would be get creative with your teaching. And then when you come to class on Saturday, let's see some new tricks that you taught. And I think I might have a prize for the best trick, for the person who's taught their dog the best trick. The prize is for your dog, not for you. But teach your dog the best trick you can, then show us what you got on Saturday. Okay? Bye. Good girl. Let me turn this off and we get more. Hold on.